Ginposium's great. It's become a feature in the gin calendar. It's fantastic to see people. People are now coming every year. It's lovely just to reconnect, see friendly, familiar faces, talk about the industry, chat in general, basically. And I think people come together as well. And we get input very much from all the members of the Gin Guild and broader for people who come as to what the big hot topics are. So every year at the end of the Ginposium, like today, we will say, okay, what do we want to talk about next year? So you think this morning we've already talked about sensory, we've talked about botanicals, we've talked about the glass you put your liquids in, we've flavoured, we've tasted stuff, all of that sort of stuff. It's all good stuff for people to come together and talk about.
I love Ginposium, and I've also been to every one since it's kicked off. This whole thing about getting people together for one day of the year. Geeking out, I think, would be a fair thing to say, but actually it's the one time I get to see absolutely everyone drink some gins, have a bit of a knees up and celebrate just this amazing, amazing industry that's, I hope, has got many, many years to keep flying like it is at the moment.
The category is going through enormous growth. It's broadening its horizons, both geographically, but also in what we're making in terms of what we think we can do with gin, whether it's a bloody Shiraz gin from Australia, or rhubarb gin from the UK, or some great sort of terroir-driven gins from the US. It's been an incredible 12 months. Fingers crossed that it lasted a little longer.
The last 12 months have been really exciting, and we've seen a lot of fruit gins and those flavoured gins come through. Rhubarb's been really popular, particularly in the UK, and they kind of appeal to some people that the traditional, really classic gins might not always appeal to, but then there's still kind of that gin flavour that's there as well. When it comes to the ready-to-mix, the sort of cans, it used to just be the sort of thing that you'd have on the train and they wouldn't be very good, but now we've started to see people take them a bit more seriously, which I think is really good, because they do serve a purpose. So people like Sipsmith and Chillgrove have started doing them, and they're really good.
The botanicals and where they're grown, they're changing every year in terms of the climate, so there's no guarantee now that you'll be able to buy it every year. We as suppliers have to increase the number of origins we're buying from. We have an increased number of botanicals in stock to try and sort of placate that, but it's a very difficult one, and you as the distiller or the brand owner have to bear that in mind when starting up.
I think there's no doubt that your package is what sells bottles initially. What you do with your liquid gets your resale, but people buy with their eyes now. It's a very competitive market, and it's pretty fun to be kind of at the forefront of where that's going.
We always say that we're makers first and marketers second, because if you don't have the passion and the purpose of actually wanting to make great gin, you can't masquerade as a fake brand anymore. It's too easy for people to pick the bullshit, pretty much. And so for us, it always has to come out of the distillery first. Like, what's going to be something delicious? What's going to be something that is just going to be a beautiful drink? And then how do we make it look pretty? And how do we make everyone know about it? And all those basic tenets of marketing, how do we promote it well? How do we get the pricing right? How do we make sure that we get some export strategy? That sort of stuff is secondary to the initial, to the part. If it doesn't have a reason, there's too many gins in the world right now, and too many gins particularly without a reason for being. They're just there because someone said, I want to make a gin. I just want to slap a label on it. I want to make it out of my pub down in Bermondsey. Nothing wrong with Bermondsey, but just, you know what I'm saying.
I think innovation in gin is a very good thing, but I think it's important that you can still taste the juniper and what you're doing, whether it be a fruit flavour or whether it be an Old Tom or Navy strength, or even with an ready to mixed RTD. If you can't taste the juniper, then it's not really gin, and what's kind of the point?
We talked about innovation today and where gin is moving to. If you look around the world, so many countries gin is growing, that's what's so exciting. And there's other countries as well where we're just starting to see it starting to happen.
Being in India, we're one of the only ones. In fact, when we started, we were the only ones. We were the first craft gin coming out of India. So it was very important for us to kind of connect with the rest of the world. We're fairly remote, we're fairly isolated. So it's nice to come to gin civilization, if you may, and pick up on new ideas and contribute to ideas going around.
We're in a super exciting time for the gin category. It continues to grow. There's more brands out there than ever before. There's some fantastic brands that are performing extremely well. And it's a great time, and consumers are loving gin and they are looking to experiment, try different types of gins. The category continues to boom.